I wanted to give you guys an update as we kind of jump into this training here. How many of you guys have ever been on a webinar with me before? Give me a 1 if you have, give me a 2 if you haven't. Just kind of curious to see how that spreads out. Okay, so mostly 1s, but there are some 2s. What's the group again to join? The group is Digital Marketing Incubator. So it's got the little like cracked open egg with a bunch of digital marketing stuff coming out of it. Okay, so yeah, anyways, back to my question, lots of 1s, but there are some people in here who said this is their first time. So, well, welcome to one of my webinars if you're new here. I'll kind of just give you a little bit of a rundown. What we do on webinars typically is we do some trainings and I teach you a bunch of cool stuff. Sometimes I'll present offers at the end and give you an opportunity to pick something up at an awesome deal. Sometimes I just do trainings and we just kind of talk and train. I like to do questions and answers on these. So if there's something that pops up in your head when we're doing this training, this is a great time to answer. To get that answer. It's one of the benefits of showing up live to these trainings, because I typically do send out replays as well if you can't make it live, but it's always better if you can make it live, because then you get to catch me live and actually ask questions, which is a hard thing to do nowadays because I'm so busy working on all of my different projects going on between growing my software companies and running lead gen sites and working with clients and running my marketing business. Like, it just gets to be a lot. So this is, one of the rare times when you could actually get on and talk to me in person. So I built out, first off, everyone here, who knows what lead gen is? Who doesn't know what lead gen is? Give me a 1 if you know what lead gen is. Give me a 2 if you don't. Just want to make sure I'd see if I need to explain what it is first, or if we're all pretty much clear on what it is. Okay, so we're all pretty clear on what it is. So not that long ago, I think it must have been about last year now that I did this site. Last year I built this site. It's called Cedarburg Roofing Pros. You can go check it out if you want. cedarburgroofingpros.com, or you can just go into Google and type in Cedarburg Roofing and you'll find me. I'm Cedarburg Roofing Pros. I built out this site last year. I did this as a case study because I wanted to show that, anyone really, and when I say anyone, I'm not saying like you're going to get the same results as me or that my results are typical. Don't take it that way. No one can guarantee that. But theoretically, that anyone could go and start a brand new site and start generating leads and then go and sell these said leads to someone who wanted to buy them. So I decided I wanted to make a mission to basically do that from scratch and document it to show you guys that process. And so what I did was I went and I built that site out, and we got some pretty cool results with it. And in the Facebook group, yes, this is off of all organic traffic, someone's asking. So by organic traffic, meaning this just comes from Google, no paid ads, no Google Maps. This is just straight Google traffic. What is up, Philip? Welcome. Appreciate you being here. So yeah, I made it this challenge. I wanted to see, and document it all for you guys to just show you, we could take a brand new domain name, we could take a brand new site, we could just make up a niche out of thin air and throw it up there and actually get some results. And we did get some pretty cool results. So let's break them down to where we're at with this site so far this year, because we did this last year. And a lot of people were wanting an update of like where we're at with this thing. So I thought we would start with that because that'd be kind of cool. So as you can see with the call tracking set up on it. So to be clear, this is call tracking. I put a phone number on it, and the phone number is able to track how many calls the site brings in, how many leads. So we've got from January 2021, January 1st, 2021 to May 18th, today, 2021. So far, we've got 33 good calls because I, of course, filtered out the duplicates. So it's 27 calls, there's 14 duplicates. I filtered those out. We said 33. Now, my other roofing clients, they pay me $50 per call that I send them. So I find a roofer that is looking for more work. They want more people who need their roof repaired, or they need a new roof put on, stuff like that, right? And what I do is I forward my tracking phone number over to that roofer. So every time I send him a call, and I mean good calls, not duplicates, they're going to pay me $50. So far for the year, we've got about a call value of $1,650. And I'm going to kind of break that down. But because we're about 4.5 months into the year, because it's about the middle of May right now, right? You figure that's about $366.67 per month. Now, this is completely passive income at this point. I set this site up a year ago. Like I said, I have not touched it since, not done anything to it. So not bad. Now, I want to point something out here because this site actually has a lot bigger potential than what you're actually seeing, because if you go and do a Google search for Cedarburg, Wisconsin, and what the weather is like in that town, well, you'll see in January the average for a high 26 degrees, for a low 10 degrees. For February, average high 31 degrees. I mean, we get really warm in Cedarburg, right? Below 15 degrees. March, that's when we start to warm up. By warm up, I mean high of 41, and the low of 24. Not very great, right? But my point is that this site has really been in the off season. So for it to bring in even any call volume at all is good, because this is for this area. So something to keep in mind, because today we're going to be talking a lot about niche selection and actually stepping into an industry where you're setting yourself up for success. You do have to keep this kind of stuff in mind. It's going to be seasonal. So I thought it'd also be helpful to show you the first 30 days of the site, because when I built the site, we were kind of at this point last year, coming out of the off season into, because now it's starting to get warm here. Like today, it's, in Wisconsin, 72 degrees or something like that. So now is when people are actually starting to really ramp up for the roofing industry. So this is last year, the first 30 days approximately of building this site. Now keep in mind, again, brand new site, brand new domain. We just basically created it out of thin air because I wanted to document the process for all of you guys out there who are new, or maybe just all of you guys out there who are skeptical. You've never done this kind of thing before. You just wanted to see the process, right? So I documented it just for transparency. So first 30 days of the site, again, I went down here at the bottom. This is where I'm looking just to direct your attention. I'm documenting 14 good calls because, of course, we had total calls of 22. 8 of them were duplicates, so I'm not going to count those. So 14 good calls times 50. Now, let me ask you, if you're a roofing contractor out there, I know you're probably not, but if you were, and I send you a lead for someone who needs a new roof installed, and it's maybe a $5,000 job, are you going to be willing to pay $50? Absolutely you are, right? Someone says, do you have any more examples other than the Cedarburg website? I'm going to get into that. And that's kind of it's going to go more into why I actually created the Cedarburg website. Okay, and some people are saying 100%, 100%. Yeah, you're going to exchange $50 for a $5,000 job, right? Absolutely. So again, total call volume of this one then would be $700 a month. Okay, now the answered calls is actually for me picking it up because I didn't actually have this forwarded. But if it was forwarded, that's what it would have been in the first 30 days, right? So why I created this site? I created this site because, again, I wanted to document as a case study for everyone out there who wanted to see the process from start to finish, right? You wanted to see what it looks like taking this from brand new, how long it takes, the process we go through. That's why I did it. Now, why did I create this as a case study? Why wouldn't I just, like, let's say, go and show you some of my other sites that are already done? Well, number one, because those sites already exist. But number two is that people copy in a bad way. So if I go out there and I start exposing all of my other sites, I want to show you what happens, because it's been a year later now since I did this. You see what I'm seeing? That's not my site. This is my site. That's not my site, but sure looks awfully familiar, doesn't it? Give me some ones if that looks familiar to you. Okay, enter the world of lazy, unethical tactics. This is another one. That's not my site. Sure looks familiar though, doesn't it? I mean, the content is actually copied word for word on this one. I actually found it just by taking it and putting in quotation marks, phrases from my site. And that's how I found them. Lazy, unethical tactics. So this is why when I do stuff like this and I show you examples, this is why I can't really do anything with this site. It's just kind of chilling because I know that this is what people do. right? I've been at this for, over 10 years now, and teaching stuff like this for, I don't know, maybe not quite 10 years, but I've been teaching it for a pretty long time, probably close to that. Someone said, "This is my site, Paul." Well, not cool. But I created it intentionally, this site, with the intentions of knowing that I was not going to really be able to do anything with it other than use it for illustration purposes to teach you guys. And that's why I had to do it that way. Okay, so my goal here today on this call is to teach you the foundations of picking your own profitable niches and modeling success ethically, because what you saw here today, other people do, not very ethical. That's totally not very ethical. So yeah, any of you guys out there who did copy, it'd be super cool if you would take it down, but it is what it is. I mean, that's why I did it for illustration purposes, because I'm really not going to use that site ever for really anything other than for demonstration purposes. So anyways, today we're going to talk about how to pick your own profitable niches and model success ethically. Who's excited about that? Give me some ones in the chat box if you're excited about that. Awesome, lots of ones. Yes, it is live. Definitely live. All right, I just showed you right here. Today's date, May 18th. We are live. Okay, cool. So let me get into how I came upon this niche. How I came upon this niche and how I knew it was going to be successful before I really even started. Right? I knew when I went into this, it wasn't a guess for me, like, oh, maybe this is going to work, maybe it isn't. I knew 100% when I went into it. I knew it was going to work. I knew I was going to get leads. I knew I was going to be able to rank it. Right? There was no doubt. There was no second guessing. I just knew 100%. So I'm going to teach you how to do that. Okay, let me pull open here. Okay, so some of the tools that we use to do this is a tool called Surfer SEO. Now, Surfer SEO, they have a paid tool which helps you sort of write content and stuff. It's a really cool tool. You don't need it starting off, but what you do need starting off, or I guess you don't 100% need it, but it's really, really helpful, is this right here. It's called Keyword Surfer. Give me some ones to let me know that you can see Keyword Surfer on my screen right now. I just want to make sure, because sometimes when we switch screens like that, it can mess things up and people can't see it then. Okay, cool. So this is a Chrome extension, and what it does is it will tell you for free. You notice right here on the screen right now, it says, where my mouse is moving, 22,200. What that means is that's the amount of people that are searching Google every month for the term that you type in. So Chase says it's live again, totally trolling me. So what this extension does is it does show you the monthly search volume of everyone who is searching for that particular phrase. And I don't use this necessarily to like say, oh, I want to go after this niche because it's getting this many searches. But instead, what I do use it for is to determine what keywords are better than another keyword. So I want to use it to identify the patterns. So Philip and Andrew are asking, is this the same as Keywords Everywhere? It is basically exactly the same as Keywords Everywhere. So for those of you guys who've maybe been through some of my training in the past, or you've seen some of my tutorials, you're familiar with Keywords Everywhere. The reason why I started using Surfer is, well, Surfer now, this plugin is free. And Keywords Everywhere used to be free, and then they started making you pay like, I think it's like $10 for like a certain amount of credits, which, if you have credits, burn through them. But you may as well install Surfer and use their free keyword one after that. For now, I mean, this might change in the future, just like Keywords Everywhere changed, but for now it's free. So what it does is it puts a little indicator up there. Now, the next step is that I use that tool to identify the patterns of the good keywords. But before we can even get into keywords, we have to talk about setting yourself up for success when it comes to niche selection and, even location selection, because when we're talking about local niches, the niche isn't just the only important thing to take into consideration, it's also the location. So the first thing we need to do is we need to decide on a niche and a location. And after we decide on that, that's when we can then come in and decide on the keywords that we're going to target. So I want to help you get this foundation down first. How do you outrank Better Business Bureau, Angie's List, and Yelp? Actually, it's quite easy to outrank them in certain areas, certain locations. That's why it's important that we select a location too, because they really aren't putting much emphasis on them. Angie's List, Better Business Bureau, Yelp, what are these sites? Well, these sites are directories, right? They're just basically a list of a bunch of different companies. There's really not a whole lot of thought put into it. In fact, I'm pretty sure that they probably just have some sort of like robot that goes and puts all of their content for a bunch of different pages together. And I don't really think there's much thought or effort put into them, at least not the niches and locations that we end up going after. So when I'm thinking about niches, the first thing I'm thinking of in particular is, what are niches that are good for lead gen? Well, it's usually niches that are service-based type. So I wouldn't probably go after a lead gen client that was like a doctor or like I don't know. A doctor would be a good example because when you're building out a site, right, you really need it to be kind of generic so that you can sell the leads to anyone. And with a doctor, I mean, people are typically they're researching the doctor, like it's like a cosmetic doctor, like they want to know specifically about that doctor. So I don't really want to build a lead gen site based around that. So instead, I usually tend to gravitate towards services. Someone says home renovation niches. Yeah, home renovation niches are great. I guess I refer to these as, and probably a lot of people do, skilled trades. Those are some of my favorite niches. And honestly, you can find some of the best niches by just going and looking at the competition. And this is what I mean by ethically modeling. So when I showed you examples earlier, like here's my site and people went and just plain copied me and ripped off all my content. This is not ethical. This is lazy, unethical tactics. Don't ever do this stuff, okay? Do not do that stuff. It's lazy, it's unethical, and I'm sure your results and your income and everything else is going to follow that pattern. So don't do that stuff. Instead, look at what your competitors are doing, okay? And it's okay to model what they're doing, but go after, you know, the different stuff. So I might go and I might look at my competitors, like someone mentioned Angie's List, like that's who I really consider my competitors. I consider like, and I think they changed their name to like ANJI now. I don't get it. I think it's really awful branding. What do you guys think? You like Angie's List new branding? I don't know. I think they tried to shorten it down, but it doesn't really make sense to me. But whatever. Angie's List, Home Advisor. These are really what I consider my competitors. Someone else is horrible too. Yeah. These are what I consider my competitors. These are the people I'm looking at. So I want to look at what niches do they go after? Are they servicing? So actually, why don't we just do that right now? Let's go and let's pull open. Well, here's Angie's List right here. Oh, it's ANGI. I said ANJI. Okay, they want to make me type something. I'm just going to go to the home page. Okay, well, here we go. Right now, they're offering seasonal stuff like spring. Power washing, that's a really good one. That's probably one I wouldn't have thought of. Now, here's what's really cool about this too. Actually, just notice this. Angie's List is showing how much it starts at to hire one of these guys. So you can actually kind of see the value. This is fairly new. I don't remember seeing this recently. So $322 to hire a pressure washing. So that kind of gives you some idea. Like if you want to start going after some of like maybe the higher value stuff, like the niches that are going to be willing to pay you more on a per lead basis, you know, do you want to go after lawn mowing or do you want to go after power washing? Well, for power washing, $322, that's kind of a no-brainer for me. What do you guys think? power washing be good if the prices are so low? I mean, $322, I wouldn't say that's too low. I mean, roof repair is $594, so we're not far off from there. I guess the main difference would be with roof repair is that even though we're billing our roofers $50, they're also getting not just roof repair, but they're getting roof install. Now I have another deal with another roofing contractor that I work with, where we actually separate out on a per lead basis. And what we do is for every repair that he does, he gives me $50. For every new roof that he does, like an install, he gives me $200. I think it's 200 or 250. So that's a little bit different way of doing it. I don't typically recommend doing it this way. You can do it this way if you have a relationship with the contractor you're selling the leads to, meaning you have a lot of trust built up, you trust them that they're going to actually follow through and be honest with you. It's not the typical way I recommend doing things though. If you're trying to, this is a very, very older client of mine that I've had for a long time, why I'm willing to do that with them. And it really starts to add up. I mean, it works out great for me. But if I was going to go into a new niche, work with someone I don't have a relationship with, I'm just probably going to default to like $50. And whether it's a repair or an install, just give me $50. Like it's $50 per call. And when I say per call, I don't mean that they get the job. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I don't care whether they get the job. If I send them a lead and that lead stayed on the phone for 45 seconds, I'm getting my $50, right? It's up to them to close the job. Yeah, keep it simple. Definitely keep it simple. So yeah, with that being said, this is a good way to, this is how you ethically model your competition. Okay, this is how you ethically do it. And I feel like because of the position I am in the marketplace, right, and my influence over the space, you know, there's not a whole lot of people out there that are in the lead gen space that are teaching and doing tutorials like I'm doing. I feel like it's my obligation to teach you guys the ethical way to do things. Would you guys agree? Right, that's my obligation, because when someone does something stupid, it reflects poorly on all of us, on the whole industry. So it's my obligation as someone who's an influencer in this space to teach you guys how to do things ethically. So sorry if I'm like sounding harsh on this, because like I said, I really don't care. Like I created this site as an example because I knew that there would be lazy, unethical people that were going to do this. But at the same time, it's my obligation to teach you guys the right way to do things. Should I implement a 45-second rule? I think you should. And it's one of the features in my call tracking software. It's one of the features that I have built in my call tracking software, which is what makes all this stuff so automated. Can you explain the 45-second thing? So the 45-second thing works like this. Someone calls my roofer. Okay, here's my roofer over here. Here's my customer who came from my lead gen website. They place a call with the roofer. All right, now my call tracking software does this automatically. And what happens is if they stay on the phone for, let's say, 25 seconds, my call tracking software does not count that as a valid lead and does not charge them $50 for it. But if they stay on the phone for 1 minute and 15 seconds, that passes the 45-second threshold, they get charged $50 for it. Okay, hope that makes sense. It's again, this is one of the benefits of, you know, following someone who's actually doing and has done this stuff for a long time. I know all of the different things that happen in the industry. I know what our market is not happy about. You know, a lot of these guys are coming from, like, a lot of our customers are coming from services like Angie's List, from services like Home Advisor, and they're fed up with this crap. They're fed up with being charged for leads that they're sending off to like 5 different people. They have to pay for them either way. Like, you offer exclusivity to the lead, meaning that you're going to sell a lead just to them. You're only going to charge them for leads that hit that threshold. You're going to have a happy customer. And sometimes we get discrepancies once in a while. We might get a discrepancy where they said, you know, hey, you charged me for this 1 minute and 15-second call, but, you know, it was a solicitor that called. You know, I don't want to pay for that. So That's fine. I'm not going to argue with them. I'm not going to lose a client over that. And we can go back. A lot of times we have recording set up on this. We can go back, we can listen and verify if it was and take it off of there. Not a big deal. Someone says Home Advisor is a 60 million or more business. Absolutely they are. And that's why, again, this is sort of the part of where it comes into ethically modeling what they're doing, right? We want to go after the niches that they're focused on. We want to go after those niches because those are the proven ones. Those are the ones that are working. So why are we going to go and reinvent the wheel? We're not. But we're not going to go and look at exactly, you know, what their website is, their content, and copy it. No, we're going to instead innovate and do something different. So with that being said, I want to talk about the next phase of this, because once we have the niche selected, let's just say it's power washing, but you could go through, like this is just a small sample. I mean, bathroom remodeling, kitchen remodeling, we could click browse all projects. We're going to find tons and tons, cleaning services. And I bet even if we click into that, we'll probably find tons more. You probably have to enter your zip code, but you'll find tons more. And Home Advisor will have a bunch, Porch will have a bunch, Thumbtack will have a bunch. But the next phase of this, after we select our niche, is we need to drill down on a location. So here's what I do. And this is my general rule of thumb. This is how I really am 100. Remember I told you before, when I built that Cedarburg site, I was 100% confident that not only was it going to be successful, was it going to make money, was it going to rank, was it going to get leads? It was because I follow these two rules. I picked the proven niche that my competitors like Home Advisor, Angie's List, that type of thing we're going after. But I also purposefully picked the location I did. And here's the reason why I did that. I'm going to open up a new window here. And I'm going to pull up a map. I typed in winery. So I had to type in Cedarburg, Wisconsin. I typed in winery. Okay. So I'm going to open up a map here. Okay, so here's our map, Cedarburg, Wisconsin. And this is how I came upon this niche location, how I decided on it, how I knew 100% it was going to be a good decision. So initially, I zoomed out on the map and I set my sights on Milwaukee. And I thought to myself, you know, I look at Home Advisor, I look at Angie's List, and I see roofing is a very, very popular niche that they go after. Okay, so I look at the map, and I know I want to just target this general area of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. But here's the thing. If you're my competitor, you're probably going to be going after this big, large area. That's what you're going to focus on, right? Because that's where all the population is. That just kind of makes sense, right? Focus on where all the population is. If you're a, what was it? Someone said it was a $60 million company or something like that. 600 million? I think it's 600 million, something crazy like that, right? Well, you're going to take your resources and you're going to put them into where most of the population is. But listen, we're not a $600 million a year company. So we're not going to go and do that. We're not going to go put all our resources in Milwaukee. Instead, what we're going to do is we're going to step out into the suburbs, right? That's where we're going to go to the burbs. You know, maybe Waukesha, maybe Pewaukee, maybe Brookfield. We can still target roofers, but instead of going after this large competitive city, we're going to go after the smaller cities around here. Now, this is where a lot of options come in. This is where ethically modeling can come in, right? We can go create a site about roofing in Thiensville, Germantown, Menominee Falls, Sussex, Pewaukee, New Berlin, Greendale. So I decided, I looked on the map here and I saw Cedarburg chilling over here. And I was like, you know, pretty close to Milwaukee still. And I know that there's got to be a lot of houses in Cedarburg that need roofs. How do I know this? Well, let's take a look. I'm going to pull it up on the screen for you. Give me some ones so far if this is helpful, if you're finding this interesting. I'll do more questions as well, but just want to make sure like we're I'm not boring, or it's good. Okay. So I just pulled up a real estate website. There's 58 homes for sale right now. Look at that house. That house looks like it could use a new roof to me, right? But if it doesn't get a new roof, it's certainly going to need a repair. So that's my point, right? My point is that look at the map. The map is lit up with houses all over the place. So are there people here who are going to need roofs? Of course there are. Are there people here who are going to need roof repairs? Of course there are. So that is my my thinking behind everything. That's how I come to this conclusion. That's how I decide on my location and my niche. That's how I avoid the competition. Now, I might go to Google and I might look at Cedarburg, and let me pull it up and show you. I've got the map open still here. I might go and I might see Angie's List and stuff still there. In fact, they're even trying to rank, even though I'm ranked #1, they're still trying to rank their ads there. But I might still see them here too. There's Better Business Bureau. There's Yelp, right? They're still there. Home Advisor, oh, that's an ad. So they're still there. But listen, we're outranking them just fine. And the reason why is because they're not focused on trying to rank a website in little Cedarburg, Wisconsin, right? They're just not. So someone asked me a question, what's the minimum population of a city that you'd go after? So I don't really have an answer to that. People ask me that all the time. Let's see what the population is of Cedarburg. It's one of the smaller cities that I've gone after. 11,527. Okay, I hope that helps you. It's one of the smaller cities I've gone after. I've done a lot of like 15,000 population, but if I'm being honest with you, I haven't found a whole lot of correlation between the population of a city and the amount of leads you get. It's just sometimes you'll be surprised it'll just generate a ton of leads, and other times it'll be a miss. You'll build a site and it just won't generate that many. It's just the nature of the beast. It is what it is. But you can see for this population, let's pull open the PowerPoint again. What was it? For this year, $366 a month, totally passive. Okay. And at the beginning, when it was more in on season, $700 a month. So I don't know, let's probably average out to at least $500 a month, right? Over the whole year. And I mean, you'll want to keep things like seasonal into the equation. Like, do you want to be in a seasonal niche? Do you not? Like, I don't mind. Like, I mean, I like the roofing niche. If I didn't want it to be so seasonal, I would probably switch over to a warmer area. Okay, cool. Let's see. Someone else says they're spending a lot of money. Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna do some Q&A too, don't worry. I wanna talk about this keyword stuff before we move on, before I forget. And I'll do some Q&A. Okay, so keyword stuff. This is where the Surfer SEO keyword Surfer Chrome extension comes in. This is a free extension. You don't need to sign up for Surfer SEO for this. You just add this extension. Just go to Google and type in keyword Surfer or Surfer SEO keyword tool and add this to Chrome. You have to use Google Chrome, I believe. And add this, it's going to put that thing up here. So it shows 50 people a month search for what's the population of Cedarburg. And this is what I do. Now, if I type in roofing Cedarburg, I'm gonna get 0 search volume. And the answer is because they just don't have the data on it. We know it's not true. We know there's not 0 people searching for it. The proof is in the call volume and how many leads are coming in. But instead, what we're gonna do is we're going to research. We can do this one of 2 ways. The first way we can do it is we can just research roofing terms without any city on it. The second way that we can do this is we can research roofing terms with a city on it that is nearby. So like maybe Milwaukee, the bigger city. And both ways are fine. In fact, sometimes I'll just do a combination of both. But what I'm trying to look for is I'm trying to look for patterns here. So here we've got roofing Milwaukee, 590 a month. So I'm just going to note that down. So that keyword gets 590. All right, let's go back. Now they'll give me some ideas. Roofer gets 590, so it's pretty much the same. Let me write that down too. That little widget pops up because I have Surfer installed, by the way. Okay, let's go down to the bottom and see if there's any other. Milwaukee Best Roofing Companies, Milwaukee Flat Roof Company. So I'm gonna open these up. Roofing contractors, let's see. Let's just look at these and see first. So 0 for that one, 10 for that one. So Best Roofing Companies gets 10. I'll just abbreviate it. You guys get the point, right? Maybe I'll type in Milwaukee Roof Repair. See what that one's getting. 170. Okay, nice. So I'm gonna write down Roof Repair. Now to be clear, I'm not gonna go after Milwaukee. I'm just using this. What I said was 170. I'm just using this as data, okay, to look for patterns. I don't really care about this data other than to identify the patterns. Let's do Milwaukee roof install or installation. I see is being suggested 0. Okay, let's see if there's any other keywords suggested based off of that though. Nothing there. Let's do residential roofing. 10. Okay, so let me mark that down. This is what I do for every site that I build. All right, we'll do one more. Let's do commercial. Then I should have enough to give you some examples. So 50 on that one. It's commercial roofing 50. Okay, so this is my hit list now. This is my hit list. So far, just to recap what we've done, we've picked a niche, okay? Proven niche. We've picked a location, low comp location, and now we've gathered our list of keywords. Okay, so this is our hit list. Now I know that my most, well here, you guys tell me, what's my most important keywords on this list? Let me know in the chat box, what's the most important keyword that I need to make my all-time priority? Yeah, roofing and roofer, right? This is the patterns I'm looking for. I don't really care about what this is. If I was doing like affiliate SEO, I would probably care more about that number. I'm not, I'm doing local SEO. I don't really care. All I want to know is which one's better. So this is number 1. What's next? What's my second item on the hit list? Second item on the hit list is roof repair, right? That's going to be my second focus. What's next on the hit list? Commercial roofing, right? Number 3. And then number 4, I guess these two would be equal because they're both 10. So there we go. That's my hit list. This is going to be what I go and I start building my site out around. This is my hit list. This is the process I go through. Don't overcomplicate this. So for niche, what are you doing? Ethical modeling. Go to your competitors, Angie's List, Home Advisor, and look at what niches are proven. What niches are working for that $600 million company? Next up, go where they're not. They're not focused on these small little suburbs. So for location, we're going for the suburbs. Okay, if we're going for a niche that does mostly residential work, pull open the real estate listings and see if there's houses there. If you live nearby, drive around. Do you see houses there? And then for the keywords, we're looking for patterns. Don't get fixated on that number, but instead look for the patterns. You can swap out the city name if you have to, or use no city name at all. You just want to find the patterns. Which one's better than another? And use Surfer, keyword Surfer for that, by Surfer SEO. Okay, I'm gonna do some Q&A for you guys. So if you have any questions for me, let me know. Before I do the Q&A, I have a question for you. Did you guys find this webinar helpful? Let me know in the chat box if you could help me. This is the part of the webinar where I'm usually gonna share this. in an email with people who are thinking about watching it, what would you say to anyone who's thinking about watching this webinar replay when I send it out to them? Like, did you find something in here that you think is going to like 10x your business, that you're going to be able to go out and make like $1,000 a month with? Like, let me know in the chat box right now. I'm going to screenshot them. Awesome. Lots of absolutes, lots of eye-opening, good thought process. Let me grab some screenshots of this. Good information. Definitely learned something. Yeah, keep it simple for sure. Great info. Awesome. Okay, let me do some more screenshots. When do I think I'll put the recording up? I'll try to get it up tonight. Hopefully I did record it. Yeah, I did. Awesome. Well, I appreciate it, guys. That's great. So I'll do some Q&A now. If you guys have questions, let me know in the chat box, and I'll try and knock them out here, and then we'll wrap up. Okay, someone says if you're creating lead gen sites for lots of suburbs in the same niche, do you create a new copy for each site? So this is what I do. What I do is I have a theme that I use. In this particular example, I used Elementor. And with Elementor, you can do what's called a template on Elementor. And you can save that as a template. For those of you guys who have Dialhawk, I have this case study inside of Dialhawk, inside of the bonus training that comes with it. And you can see how I do this, but I create a template in Elementor so that when I build a new site in the same niche, or even if it's in a different niche, I mean, I can easily swap out this background picture to be whatever I want, a plumber, a roofer. I can just go and clone this site basically with Elementor. But I also use my own WordPress theme as well. That's also included with Dialhawk for those of you guys who have it. And that theme's a little bit easier to use. Elementor is something that you really have to kind of learn how to use. It's a drag and drop website builder. Whereas my theme that I give you access to it's more of like a just, out of the box, you can just go and enter in your content. So that's how I go about like cloning them over. Now, that being said, one thing I never do is I never clone content. And this is why the people who I say are unethical, who just go and like rip my content, rip my site, all of that stuff, that's the stuff I want you guys never to do. Not even do it on your own stuff, because it just isn't good practice. It's stuff that is probably going to get penalized. You probably will end up with penalties for it and end up not ranking real well. So don't do that. It's fine if you use it as a template, but then change out your content to something else on your site. Like if you're going to if I take my template and I use this and I build another site on roofing in a different city, I want to change the content, make it entirely unique. So good question. Let's see what else we got here. Doug says you need to be able to outrank good SEO sites to go with an area or niche. So with this strategy, what I just taught you, I mean, we're pretty much avoiding other sites out there. The good SEO sites that you're referring to, they're typically not focused on these smaller suburbs. And that's why we do this strategy, because it's just easier. I mean, it allows me to set a site up like this and forget about it, but then still rake in the money every month. I mean, that's fine. These strategies will still work if you want to go after the more competitive stuff, but then you're going to constantly be having to update the site and do things to it. And for me, those who know me, I'm a lifestyle person. Like, I do things based on my lifestyle, meaning that I kind of want to set it, do the work, and then forget about it, or do very little to it. How much SEO do you do on your sites to have them rank? And do you do continuous SEO? So kind of answer that my last question. If you're going to pick a competitive niche and not do what I just taught you in today's workshop, then you're going to have to do continuous SEO. But if you do what I taught you today, you're probably not going to have to do continuous SEO. So ranking the site is just a matter of taking your hit lists that we created with your keywords and creating content around those keywords. So, you'll have a page on your site about residential roofing, and you'll have a whole page that's just based around that. You want to target commercial roofing, you'll have a whole page targeted around commercial roofing. Okay, I hope that makes sense, but that's That's kind of the gist of it. Do you put backlinks on your site, and what about directories? So if you're gonna follow what I taught you today, and you're gonna go after niches that are like this and they're easy, you're not gonna have to do a whole lot of backlinking. So what I recommend that you do is you create a social media following around it. When I say following, I don't mean like you have to go out there and get a bunch of followers, but what I mean is that you create a Facebook profile or Facebook fan page for it, and then you link your website and your Facebook fan page, maybe a Twitter account with a link to it, maybe a Pinterest profile. And I do this because this is just what legitimate businesses do. And you want it to look as legitimate as possible, but it does also create that backlink at the same time. And then from there, I kind of let it just sit and marinate for about, I don't know, 2 to 4 weeks. I would say within a week, you're going to start seeing rankings for your longer tail keywords. Like if I go under, I don't know, like flat roof here. So I ranked this keyword for flat roof service. I think I ranked it for flat roof Cedarburg, Wisconsin. We could double check. I think that's what I went after. Yeah, that's what I went after. Flat roof in Cedarburg, Wisconsin. So that's what I went after. And you'll see that kind of stuff, like the longer tail stuff. That's what you're going to see rank first. And then after like a couple weeks, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, you'll start to see some of your bigger keywords ranking. Like if we go back to the hit lists that I showed you. All right, you're going to start to see this stuff ranking, like the longer tail stuff. That stuff's going to rank within like maybe a week. It just depends. And don't take this, take this with a grain of salt. Every site is different. You might start seeing this kind of stuff rank maybe in 2 weeks. And then you might start seeing this stuff rank 3 to 4 weeks. Okay, that's just from my general experience. When you follow kind of my niche selection guidelines, that's typically what I see. And if for some reason after that time frame we're not seeing like super great rankings on our main keywords, then that might be when I need to think about, did I pick a niche that was a little too competitive? Do I want to stick with this site and keep it going? And if I do, then that might be when I start to consider some backlinking stuff. And what I'll typically do is I'll typically default to some of these directory sites like Yelp. And you can get a Yelp listing without an address. Again, if you're in Dialhawk, you have a Dialhawk account, open up your Teachable account with Dialhawk and go into that bonus training, go into the case study of this, and you'll watch how I create a Yelp account for a lead gen site. But what I do is I typically just will put the city name for my location. And Yelp will typically call to verify, and they'll call and just say, hey, we just want to make sure you created it. What they're really doing is they're really trying to upsell you on what's called a premium listing. And I just decline the premium listings. So I just basically confirm, yes, I did create it, and we don't allow customers to come in to our location and just hang up. So that's what I do, and that's kind of my process. So I hope that helps. Most of the time, though, we're generally not having to create backlinks because of this stuff right here. Okay, I answered a lot of questions that I'm seeing come in about how long does it take and about backlinks. So I'm not going to answer those again because I just answered them. Let's see what else we got. Someone says, can I use Facebook ads to drive traffic to my site while waiting for it to rank? Absolutely, you can. Yeah, nothing wrong with that at all. In fact, it can only help. How about new content unless you have a content writer? Well, you have a couple options when it comes to content. And when you're first starting off, your best option is more than likely when you're just starting off is you have one thing that I don't have. And that a lot of people don't have. That is time. And right now, if you're just starting off, you might have a lot more time than money, right? So why hire a content writer? Just use your time and do it yourself, write your own content. It's not hard. You can ethically model. Don't go and copy and paste it straight off a website and like just rewrite each sentence. Don't do that. But just go and like look at what they're talking about. What is their article about? Does it mention like Like, does it mention like, here, I'll just show you an example. If I go to roof repair, what are we talking about? Okay, well, they're talking about emergency roof repair. They're giving some different things about different layers of the roof. This actually is a horrible article, but it worked. Okay, but it kind of gives you an idea of what they're going after. Let's go after residential roofing and see what comes up there. Okay, this article is all about how to find a reliable roofer. What do you want to look for in a reliable roofer? Okay, you can make up an article about that. Just do some research. Go into Google and say, hey, what do I need to find a reliable roofer? And you're going to find some patterns of, what to look for, and then you can write your article based off of that. Now, if you don't want to do it yourself, and maybe you have the luxury of having more money than you have time, then you have a couple options. You can go and you can hire a content writer. You can hire someone who can like permanently write you content on a site like Upwork. You can hire a freelancer for a one-time gig off a site like iWriter. That works fine. Or I've been using a new tool lately that uses kind of a combination, and it's called Jarvis. Specifically, the site is called conversion.ai, and it's this robot that writes content for you. And then I have my virtual assistant, who I hire off of Upwork, go and do this for me. So they go into conversion.ai, they use the robot to help write the content, and then they proofread it, and then they post it to the site. That's kind of how I've automated my time so that I don't have to do it myself. And Chase says, don't forget to automate your profiles. Honestly, when I build these lead gen sites, I don't do anything with the profiles, but yeah, I think you probably could really blow things up in a good way if you did automate your social media and you started doing posts from them as well, because that's just going to drive even more traffic. It's also going to add more legitimacy and probably help your SEO ranking. So definitely a good tip there. Okay, someone says, should we create a Google My Business listing for the website? Now, I can't say whether you should or shouldn't. They work. I love Google Maps. In fact, most people who know me from, know that I've been doing this for a long time, would probably consider me the go-to maps guy. I love Google Maps, but when it comes to building out these lead gen sites, simple is great. And like the Cedarburg site, I did all of that with no maps. Now, if you find a way to get an address, you want to create a maps listing, great, go for it. You're going to get a ton of extra leads with Google Maps. But when you're just starting off, I wouldn't bother worrying about it. It's not going to make or break things. It's easier to manage when you don't have that set up, but you can always do that. Say when you get a client, you could use their Google Maps listing too. But yeah, you don't have to. Someone says, how long does it take for you to build out a site like this? How many hours? Not that long. I would say it'd probably take about an hour to really get the whole site fleshed out. And then as far as like getting the content on it, maybe another couple hours. And then, I don't know, just kind of totally finalize it. A few hours, like it's really not that long. And if I'm being honest, I'm not really doing much of it myself at all these days. It goes back to, I have a robot that helps me write the content, and then I have a team that I've hired that helps me with it. So it's all about working smarter, not harder. Do you need proxies? I typically don't. You can if you're really worried about it, but I typically don't use proxies. All right, I'm going to do a few more questions here before we wrap up. How do you figure out what to charge for a lead in any industry? So we have a sheet inside of the Facebook group. So if you're not a member of the Facebook group yet, here's yet another reason to join. I think you find it under the file section. Someone uploaded this sheet here, Chuck, shout out Chuck, with home services lead pricing. And this is what Home Advisor, this sheet is pretty outdated, but it's probably still pretty relevant. This is what they charge people. So that can be helpful. You can use that. So go join Digital Marketing Incubator. we'll have someone approve you within 24 hours. The other way, go ahead and sign up for a site that sells leads like thumbtack.com and see what they're charging for leads. Okay, that can be another way. Groupon. Now what I'll say about Groupon is Groupon actually takes half. They take 50% of the deal. So not as attractive for people who are looking to buy leads, but there's certainly a lot of Groupon offers up there. And if it's the right niche where you're offering a similar offer, that might be something you can charge half for. So yeah, and you can always get feedback from your prospect that you're thinking about selling leads to and see what they're paying now, or a lot of times they'll tell you and what they're willing to pay, and you just work it out. The other thing you can do is with Surfer, check this out. I'm going to type in HVAC Milwaukee, HVAC. Surfer will tell me how much people are bidding on this keyword. They're bidding $18. Let's get a little more granular with it and type in furnace installation Milwaukee. Okay, people are paying $21 for that. That means that's how much you're paying Google to show up on their ads here. Now, the interesting part is that this is just for a click. Okay, that means someone comes, clicks on their ad, visits their website, maybe they leave, maybe they call, but maybe they leave. And I mean, if you think about it, a call is a lot more valuable than a click to a website. So this could be a good starting point for you, but probably severely undervalued. And if we were to go and check out that post in the Facebook group on Home Advisor, they used to be called Service Magic, by the way. So that's probably what this is going to come up as, but we come in here and see what they're charging for furnace repair. Take a look here if I can find it. Okay, let me zoom in on this so you can see it. All right, here, heating system, $51. So probably would be pretty safe to say whatever this is saying, probably about double it. So I hope that that's helpful. Vanessa says call fire versus Dialhawk. Well, I mean, on pricing alone, we just totally demolished call fire. So I actually, when I built Dialhawk, Vanessa, I switched from call fire. And I don't like to talk bad about competitors. Call fire was great for what it did for me at the time, but I was paying a lot of money to call fire. And I mean, hundreds and hundreds of dollars to call fire every single month. So just from a cost aspect alone, switching to Dialhawk, and I ported all my numbers over too, Vanessa, from call fire into Dialhawk. So you don't, if you have another call tracking service you're using like call fire, you want to switch to Dialhawk, you can do that without losing all your phone numbers. You can port them over. We have training inside on how to do that. But just on a cost perspective alone, I mean, it just totally blows it away. I don't want this to be a pitch for Dialhawk. That's not the reason why I did this webinar today. But I mean, we just offer so many other features that none of the other call tracking services out there can provide, like the call filtering, for example, charging per lead, automated invoicing. We can auto invoice your clients for valid leads. We have quick call forms. So when someone comes to our website and they fill out our form here, we turn this into a phone call automatically. So we have lots of features and lots of things that separate us from all the other call tracking services out there, but we are also the most affordable for doing call tracking as well. At least right now we are. We do have plans in the future to not be the cheapest in the business, but for now we are a fairly new software company. So I missed your deal, Paul. Is it still for sale at that great price? Right now, if you go to the homepage, you won't be able to get the deal on it because we only offer that for my subscribers. So we do that on a limited time basis, but I'll try and drop a link maybe on one of the next webinars to it. So try and show up to one of the next webinars that I hold like this, and I'll try and I'll try and drop a link to the deal. Or if you want to post in the Facebook group, if I get enough people in the Facebook group that are posting about it, maybe I'll drop links in there. If you want to go and post in the Facebook group that you're looking for the Dialhawk deal, and I get enough people on that, I could maybe drop a link there or something. Someone says, I'm using the contact form trick and it works, trust me. Yeah, it definitely works, because especially in like these home service type industries, you have to think, some people are coming and they're calling a couple people at once. So it's usually the first person to respond is going to be the person that gets the deal. So we want to make sure that our clients are getting the deals. It's just another way that we keep clients happy. What's going on? There's no pitch on this webinar. No, just wanted to help you guys out, give you some value, and get you excited about, you know, getting things off the ground and adding more clarity to things. So I just hope it's helpful. Do you use Bluehost for all of your lead gen sites, or do you use other hosting too? I use other hosting too. Bluehost is a good starting point. It's definitely an easy one to get going with. And, you know, once you really get things off the ground, you might look to expand into other hosting providers. But if you're just starting off, that's the one I recommend. Have I explored seller lead sites? I have not, but I've heard of people who've had pretty good success in that industry. So yeah, might be worth looking into. So are we supposed to make a website for each city? I mean, that's typically the best route. And the reason why I like doing it that way versus making like one giant website is that, well, for one, it looks more legitimate when you're a customer and you're coming to a site and it's just based around that city. Because otherwise, what separates you from like, you know, like a yellowpages.com? You look just like a directory site. So that's one reason, boosts conversions. The other reason, it gives us more control. We can make more refined tweaks around that city. We can also do cool things like, you notice I've got Cedarburg put right into the domain name of the site. So that can help as well. Does PBN boost up local rankings? I mean, it definitely can. You know, PBNs are a strategy that still can work when used properly. It's not a strategy that I've been really having to use though on these local sites. I've been mostly just using on-page SEO, and that's really, you know, what I've been teaching you guys about with the on-page SEO is just legitimately what I've been doing, and it just works. Made a roofing site. I won't name off your city just so no one copies you like they did me. But I only got 1 to 2 leads, so I was at. I'm not sure. Maybe look at the way your site's designed. Try and boost your conversion up. You know, try and do a design more similar to mine, where you have your call to actions right up top. You notice I'm particularly saying, you know, for a free quote, call us or fill out the form to get a free quote. So that might be one thing you want to look at. The other thing is like I said, not everyone's going to be a win. Sometimes there's going to be a miss. You're going to pick a city that just, maybe there's no houses in that city. You know, I don't know the specifics. Maybe that's why. And if that happens, or maybe there's just some kind of weird thing where there's also it's an off season right now. So you did roofing. Like I just said, the season hasn't really picked up. I'm not sure how new this site is for you, but the season is just getting going now. Depending, it looks like it's in the Midwest, your site as well. So I'll rate it out and see. I don't want to pull your site up right now live on the screen, because trust me, you don't want that. You'll have a ton of people copying it. So yeah, I would say wait it out. Worst case scenario though, guys, for those of you, if you do get a site where it doesn't get leads, a little tip for you, you can easily go into Facebook, into like one of those buy, sell, trade groups, and you can post and say, hey, I'm looking for a, like, let's say your site's about roofing. I'm looking for a roofer that could handle some clients, and you'll get a lot of people tagging the post and reaching out to you, and you can just sell them the site. Like if the site just doesn't generate that many leads, sell the site to them. You know, sell it to them for $1,000, $3,000, $5,000, and just sell them the site, offload the whole thing, and you know, they'll get leads from it over time. Maybe a lot slower because it's just not getting a lot of leads. They'll get leads from it. Maybe they need a new website anyways. They want to put it on their business cards. You could tweak it for them, change out the logo to their logo, and just sell the site to them. It's already done. It's an easy sale. So that can help too. Okay. I think we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. It looks like I got most of the questions. But anyways, guys, I really appreciate you being here today. I hope that you enjoyed this special webinar training that I did. Look out for my future trainings. You know, definitely these aren't something that you want to miss if you're serious about growing your business, or if you're just starting off and you're looking to really get things going. These are not trainings that you want to miss. You know, invest the time. Investing in your business isn't just about investing money, it's about investing time, right? And continuing your education. So surround yourself with people who are doing what you want to do, and learn from them. So, all right, cool. Lots of thank yous in the chat box. You guys are very welcome. Thank you guys for spending time with me tonight. What trainings can I learn more from? My Dialhawk training, my Dialhawk software is the very best one. I don't have a pitch for it tonight. This wasn't meant to be a pitch. Go and join Digital Marketing Incubator. If I get enough interaction in there for a reopening of Dialhawk at the special price, maybe I will. But yeah, anyways, I appreciate it, guys. Thanks so much. We'll get your group invites approved within the next 24 hours, hopefully. So, okay, cool. Catch you guys later. Have a nice night.